Good morning. Good morning.
Good
Happy
morning.
Monday. We're here, you guys. Are ready to cook. Get this party started.
Yeah.
I am Kia Ortiz, and this is Miss Beautiful Jennifer Gatling.
Hey y'all. Hey y'all.
Uh, yes, and we're here today to talk about loss, longing, and hope. So, if you or anyone you know has dealt with miscarriage, if anyone you know has been longing for a child and have yet to conceive, anyone or you yourself have experienced just doubt and frustration with your body concerning giving life, this video is for you. We're going to be cooking, we're going to be talking, and we're just going to allow God to speak to us in this vulnerable space, um, knowing that, we have each other, we're not alone, and we both have experienced some aspect of these things that we're talking about today. And so let's get into it. Tell us again, Miss Jennifer, what we cooking?
We are making shrimp and grits, and we're going to do a little twist on the grits with some Parmesan cheese, so Parmesan grits. And if y'all hear the beeping in the background, I'm so sorry about that. We're trying to get the battery in my smoke detector changed. So sorry about that, y'all. But yeah, so we're doing like a Cajun shrimp and Parmesan grits.
Yes.
All
I
right.
love how you put the titles and stuff. And you guys, I'm watching the comments as we cook. So let us know who's in. Let us know if you're cooking. If you have any questions while we're doing it. So then that way we know we can see you.
All right.
I
So
am now sharing this to my page and your page. So what's the first thing we need to do?
we're going to get the pan heated, the pot heated to get the grits on because that's going to take a bit.
Okay.
So I just heat up my chicken stock in
Uh-huh.
the pan, like in the pot, as it's heating up to kind of like help get it all ready.
Ready, ready.
I don't like to measure things. I don't like to measure, so I buy what I need. All right. So using this whole carton.
Yes. Hey, Cece.
I
Get
see.
merching.
Yes. So I'm using unsalted chicken stock. It is unsalted chicken stock is actually kind of hard to find. So I was shocked. I was shocked that I was able to find it. But yeah. So this is what I'm using: the whole carton, 32 ounces, which is 4 cups. And yeah. So we're gonna use all of that, and we're gonna use my recycling is over there. I just threw it over there. And so yeah, I'm using 4 cups of chicken stock, unsalted. I like a splash of heavy cream in my grits, y'all. So that's what I'm going to do as
Sweet.
well.
I posted a picture of everything so that way people see what you would need.
Got you. I'm
I
also using because I'm using unsalted chicken stock. I'm putting a little bit of kosher salt in my pan. If
Okay.
you,
So, Miss Jennifer, let's
yes,
start with the first question, and we're gonna just dive in.
all right.
How did you, or when did you knew that you miscarried?
Oh, um, so it was after, you know, if we can just be really real, um, it was after a night, me and my husband, we were intimate, and I woke up in a pool of blood. And so, of course, I freaked out, but I didn't see any tissues. It was just blood. And so I called the nurse's hotline, and they told me that since we had been intimate, it was likely a mixture of fluid with the blood. So it probably wasn't that much blood. I was in my first trimester. I was coming up on my 10th week, and 10th week pregnant. And I remember kind of doubting that that was true. And I had really crazy morning sickness, not as bad as it was with my daughter, because I had morning sickness up until birth, but it was kind of like a bit the same, just not as intense. And so as the week was going by, I started to feel less and less. Actually, it was 11 weeks. So I was 11 weeks at that point, and I was feeling less and less morning sickness each day. My doctor's appointment was that Friday, and this had happened kind of like on Monday. And so they were like, just wait until your doctor's appointment. Your doctor will, tell you what's going on. Just be careful. Don't, no more, physical interaction. Just, wait for your doctor's appointment. And so we went to the doctor, and of course, they do routine ultrasounds and listening for the heartbeat and all that stuff. And so when they went to um, listen or went to do the sonogram or the ultrasound, my uterus was empty. And so that was the confirmation. So she was saying that because they did the pregnancy test, it came back positive, and at that point, my uterus was empty. She said, I can see all of the pregnancy tissues, but I don't see a fetus, or I don't see the egg being developed. I don't see all of that. And so and she said at that point, at 11 weeks, the baby should be fully developed. It's just a matter of it growing. And of
Mhm.
course, I was devastated, and my husband was devastated, and we cried, and all of that. And what happened was I had what they call a spontaneous abortion, where your body um, unexpectedly aborts the baby. And and what happened was, she said I had my options. I had two options. I could wait for the pregnancy tissues to start to dispel on their own, or I could get a DNC. And I was uncomfortable with the DNC, so I said I'll just wait. And about 2 weeks later, the tissue started to expel, but they got lodged in my cervix, and I wouldn't stop bleeding. And so I started hemorrhaging so bad that I went into shock 4 times and had to be rushed to the emergency room, and then had to, have a blood transfusion. It was just a lot. So it was like not just the loss of the baby, but almost the loss of my life. And they had said that if I had waited another hour, I would have died. So it was a lot of trauma around that for me. So yeah, that's how I knew, and that is now what's tied to the story of this baby. So
And what's the baby's name?
her name, which I know is a girl, her name is, because she's alive in Jesus. It was really interesting. The Lord, I was spending time with him this morning, and he said she's alive. And hmm, and so her name is Asher Sloan.
Asher Stone.
Asher Sloan.
Sloan. I love it.
Asher Sloan. And it means happy warrior. That's what it means.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen. I think it's so awesome that you can have the name,
Yeah.
the child be real. And because I think so oftentimes when we're waiting on a child, we don't want to have hope. So we don't name it. You know what I mean? It's
Mhm.
kind of that whole name it, claim it type thing. And I think it's so important to give your child a name, regardless if they're physically in your arms or hands. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Uh,
I think it's cool too, like on a whole nother note, because I didn't come up with that name. It's not like I was like, to be honest, I wasn't thinking about having any more kids. Like, and y'all, just so y'all know, my webcam is on top of my stove, but my laptop is on my counter. So if you see me turning here, it's because I'm trying to look at Kia. Um,
are you gonna blame on me?
I'm not
Blame
talking.
on me, guys.
I'm not talking to my microwave. Um, so, but what happened was, this was right when I met my husband. Y'all, it was so random. I was in the bathroom, at my apartment, and I was brushing my teeth, and I heard the Lord say Asher Sloan, and I knew that was my daughter, and I just bust out crying, like full blown. I was like, so I'm gonna have another child? Like, God, what? Like this. You want this, And so I looked it up, and I'm like, oh my gosh, happy warrior. So then, of course, you know, I'm adding pepper, y'all.
Wait, well, I'm missing something. I'm still on butter and oil.
So I'm adding pepper to
To what?
my broth.
Oh, you already put the broth
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I was saying I put my broth in while the pot is heating,
in?
so that it
Okay.
heats all at the same time.
Okay. Well,
And I also put uh, garlic powder inside of my broth for my grits. Okay,
so right now we got 4 cups of broth, we got pepper, and we got garlic.
a little splash of heavy cream and butter,
Okay.
all of
Got
that.
it.
So
All right. So you're saying the name.
yeah, so I start crying, and I'm like, Lord, you want me to have another baby? I don't even have a husband. And then I met my husband, and we met in April 2015. And in October, it was October 2015. I had a baby. I had a dream that it was very interesting. So I had I'm a dreamer, and that's how oftentimes the Lord speaks to me, is either through vision or dream.
Mhm.
And so I had a dream that I was in this place that was outside of time. Now I understand it to be eternity. And me and my husband, who at the time he was not my husband, but he was a guy that was interested in me, and I was like, okay, I want to see, what you about. And so, but I saw him, and I saw me, and I saw this baby girl,
Uh-huh.
and I knew it was Asher. I knew it was her. And so now my water is starting to boil, y'all. So I'm about to add my grits.
Okay. How many cups of grits?
I have 1.5 cups of grits,
Okay.
and they're old fashioned. And you have to keep stirring the grits, y'all. Do not let them stick. Don't let them stick, or you are not going to be a happy camper. So I
That's
am.
some nasty pasty grits.
This is what's happening here. All right, y'all.
Nice. Okay.
So
So you had a dream. Y'all were in eternity.
yeah, so we're like, now I understand it to be eternity. We have this little baby girl, and I knew that was Asher, and I was like, oh my goodness. And so I've like conceived her in my heart. And I remember walking through this hallway, and I was dancing through the hallway to this elevator that led me into time. And I knew it was about 2018 at that point in my dream. Like I just knew, like it had been like 2 or 3 years that had passed. And this one of my good friends now, we were not friends then, but one of my good friends now, she was in my dream. And I didn't know her then, but I saw her face. And I saw one of the guys from my church, and I saw him, and they had a baby together. And it was a son. And I knew that at the time, like 2018, he was one going on two. Like this is what I saw, right? I'm seeing this baby, like this little boy with these two people who, one I know, one I don't. And so that became the marker for a timeline for me of when I would conceive. And so my niece was born in 2017, and then the little boy, it was a boy. The girl got pregnant, and she had a boy. He was born in 2017. I get pregnant in 2018, and so at that time, my baby would have been. By the time the baby was born, the little boy that was in my dream would have been 2. And so I'm like, okay, this is all lining up according to what God has shown me. It's all lining up. And then I miscarried, and it didn't make sense. It did not make sense to me. And I literally, over the last 4 years, well, it's been 4 years now, but over the last 3 years, um, I'm trying to make sense of everything else has come to pass except this. What does
Mhm.
this mean? And so I'm still, I love the Lord because He doesn't leave you without comfort, and He doesn't leave you without answers. Like there are some things you know that you won't necessarily know, but He'll provide the comfort in what you don't know. And then there are moments when He will provide the understanding. And what he reminded me was, I never saw my baby in time. I saw her in eternity. And so I don't know why, she's not here, but I know she's alive and she's with him. And so I just take solace in the fact that I was not, the Lord revealed to me this space to prepare, I feel like. And also I feel like he needed me to open up my heart in a different kind of way, because this baby provided a longing for me that, you know, there's a there's a vacancy in that space now. But what that has done is made me want to love people well. You know what I'm saying? Like, them,
Yes.
my longing has become a desire to comfort and to console those who may be in the same space of longing, who may
Come on.
be experiencing loss and not sure where comfort is going to come from. And I feel like the Lord is giving me an access key, an access key to bring comfort and let people see something beautiful on the other side of this. And
Huh.
so,
I'm going to pause you right there because somebody could be listening and saying, well, that sounds crazy. How's your baby not here but alive? How can you see something but it not come to pass? How can you say that God showed you something that didn't happen? Or how can God give you comfort for something um, that you thought was going to happen?
mhm,
And one thing I know about God is he does things that it doesn't just affect you, but it affects multiple people, right? And that's part of your story. What would normally break somebody, would make somebody fall apart. Not only are you still standing, but you're able to impart reality,
yeah,
realistic, practical things to people so that they don't fall and crumble. Because had you not, like what you would normally go, what most people would go through, they would have fallen. They would
right.
have been destroyed by what you've gone through.
It's so funny. Y'all, so first of all, here Sheree Ortiz is like my cheerleader, because she's the person who reminds me, like, she's one of three people who constantly remind me of what I'm made of. And you need those people, because sometimes life can become so oppressive that you forget the good.
Yeah.
Even momentarily, it becomes like, whoo, the space, it is just like, it can become so intense that you forget the good. And she's like, girl, she used to say all the time, girl, you took a deer to the face. What you talking about?
Oh my gosh, yes. Hey Faye, love you. Go. Okay, so let me tell you something real quick. Quick sidebar. Jen took a deer to the face. I'm gonna tell the short version because I get excited every time I hear about it. When she says it's a little bit concerning, but I'm gonna tell you my version of her story. This girl was driving on the passenger seat. Deer jumps out on the highway, right? Hits only her side of the car. Hits her in the face. I'm sorry, it's not funny.
No, it's comical now. I'm about how many years removed? About 10 years removed at this point. I think good.
Yeah, I don't want people thinking that I'm crazy for laughing. But here's the thing. So the deer hits her side of the car. Girl, my grits are popping up at me. I got my heat up too high.
Oh yeah, turn your heat down. Now that it's starting to pop, turn your heat down.
Okay.
To like
But the deer only hits you, and the windshield is still intact
on the driver's side.
on the yes.
I had deer hair, windshield glass in my head. At the time, I had locks. It was in deer hair, and glass was embedded into my locks. I had abrasions all across my jaw. I ended up with abrasions on my cornea from the impact of the glass getting in my eye. And for like a good 2 months, I could not blink without seeing the deer. The nutty part about it was It was something like a Final Destination scene, y'all, because before the deer popped out, NPR was on there talking about it was deer season and how to watch out for deer and don't swerve and hit it straight on and all this. As soon as it ended, the deer hit.
Yes, right. And so here's the thing that trips me out, right? You do not look like you've ever taken a deer to to face. So that's why I say, y'all, when I'm encouraging her, girl, you got this. You took a whole deer to the face. Like, it's things like that. Oh, what the enemy would try to make you go off course, make you panic, would make you feel like, oh, my life is over. There's no way I can come back from this.
Yeah.
Years later, not only do you have the testimony and the victory, but you don't look like what you've gone through.
Right.
And so that's the difference between something happening to you and you owning it, or something happening to you, you accepting it and getting the lessons learned and moving on. Because there's a lot of people that have been damaged that look like the damage that they've gone through.
Yeah.
And stuck at that space. Why did that happen to me? And all the questions and everything, like, it's stuck in that space to where it's their reality. Even though time has passed, they're stuck in that space because they can't get over it. And the one thing I love about you, time and time again, things have happened and you're not getting over it, like pushing past your feelings. You're accepting it and getting clarity and understanding on it. To be able to impart, because you guys, at the same time that she is going through this miscarriage, I was pregnant with Levi.
Yeah.
And I remember a time that you spoke into my life because, and this is the longing part, I always thought that it would be easy for me to get pregnant. I know some people are looking at this like, girl, you got 4 kids, like, boo bye. But let me tell you, it took us a minute to get pregnant. And I thought, because I lived right for Christ, I waited till I got married. I know this is the man that God has for me. We both have seen our kids, been prophesied. But why is it so difficult for us to have kids? And it took us a year and a half. But I remember the day I was talking to Jenn on the phone, bawling my eyes out, like, I'm going to give up hope for my children because it must not be the plan that God has for me because they're not here yet. And I don't understand, like, why I'm not pregnant. Like, I've done everything I've known to do, talked to the professions. They said, I couldn't have kids. And then this one saying, well, it might be difficult, all these things. And I don't have it. So I'm going to just give up. Maybe, God forgot about me. And Miss Jennifer says, what did you say to me that day? You prayed for me. And then you said, basically, like, that you're going to carry them, like they're real, and that you're going to carry them and you're going to keep praying even though I don't want to anymore.
And I put them right on my wall. I put them on my prayer wall and prayed for them. And so there was an understanding that came with that too, in that the truth is sometimes you don't have the capacity for your pain and your longing. So you need people.
Yeah.
You need community. Let me tell you something. I would have folded without my community. You cannot do this alone, because you can't, like, having unmanifested or unrealized longing can put you in such a state. It can put you in such a state. And if you don't have people to remind you of purpose, and you don't have people to remind you that, you're bigger than the longing, it will overtake you.
What you say? You're bigger than the longing.
You're bigger. The longing is a part. It's not the whole. The longing doesn't determine your value. And so you're still valuable, even with the longing. Like, it's been 4 years, y'all. And I'm still trying to process the loss of this baby, because I conceived her, right? Not just in my womb. I conceived her in my heart, the womb of my
heart. Your
mind. The womb of my mind. Yes, the womb of my spirit. She is alive, but she's also well, just not in this reality. And so I've had to come to terms with, because, like, I have a whole, like, oh my goodness. Okay, so God is bringing something up before me where I was telling my friend Angela that we were talking about if we knew, anything about about our husbands, would we get any impressions? And I remember saying to her, I said, I when I was 12, I knew that I would marry a guy whose name began with DA. I was 12. I drew him and everything, y'all. And he was brown skin and he was tall. And he had like the best smile. Yeah. And baby, if you on him, I'm talking about you. And so I saw him, like I felt him, right? I knew that I would have 4 kids. I knew I would. I was supposed to have 4. And what God did is I have 4 kids. I have one that I was able to birth live. I have 2 bonus children, and I have a child in heaven. I have 4 children.
Look, pay attention to your dreams. Pay attention
Pay attention.
to things that go around. Because the interesting thing I love about that too is, even though we're talking about losing a child and conceiving, we're talking about conceiving things that aren't just a baby.
Yes.
Your husband, promises, your
Businesses.
desire, businesses. It's the same principle in the sense of something has become real to you that you've given life to, that birth, and that there's a birthing process, there's a laboring, there's a tearing that goes along with it, and there's a holding on to hope. Because anybody that has a business will tell you, there was times that I just wanted to give up. Girl, what you do? You ate your grits? What did I miss? Wait, I didn't put my cheese in yet. I'm supposed to put the cheese in now?
Yes, put your cheese in. It's starting to thicken up.
Yeah, it's already thicken up now.
Yes, put the cheese in, girl. Oh my Lord. You have the big one?
This?
Okay, we got the same size. Use like half of it.
Half of it, okay.
Use about half. And then stir it up and try it. See if it needs to be tweaked, like a little bit of salt, pepper. But these joints bomb.
Okay.
Y'all. They bomb.
But yeah, and Faith says, getting stuck is real. Oh my gosh.
Let me talk about that though.
Okay.
Because I was literally like, y'all, preparation for this live has opened up a well in me that I didn't know was stopped up. And the Lord said, in order for you to heal, you have to go to the last place you got stuck. And so I had to unstop this well in order for me to not be stuck here, y'all. Because there's something else the Lord wants to birth here. I was like, there's a key. The Lord will turn the travesty into an access key. It's an access key. And so there's some things you will never recognize you are able to do. You come out on the other side of pain. It's real.
What I just heard was the pain becomes your right. You know what I mean? Your rite of passage.
Yeah.
Because there's some things that you got, and it's funny because pain will make you feel like this, but really pain will shave some stuff away. Pain will shift your priorities and make you focus on what's really important. Because even like you said, being stuck, sometimes you don't even realize that you're stuck.
Right.
The point that I realized that I was stuck when it came to giving life was I've had Ava in my heart and in my mind and my soul for years. I had her before in my mind. I had her before the boys were even there. And so when Levi was born, I was like, well, I guess God doesn't, have that plan for me to have my daughter anymore. I'm going to just move past it because it's making me bitter to where I don't want to be with my sons. You know what I mean? It's making me bitter to where I see other women with daughters and I'm like, oh, that must be nice. Like it was manifesting itself in some disgusting ways.
Listen.
And so it was crazy because I'm sitting with a friend and she's talking about her neighbor, and her neighbor, she kept saying, yeah, my neighbor Ava, blah, 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 blah. And Ava Rain has been my daughter's name forever and a day. She goes, yeah, Ava, she was painting and Ava was doing this and Ava was doing that. And I'm looking at her like, she's talking about my daughter. And why does it hurt? Like it hurt my belly so, it hit my belly so hard. Like, oh my gosh. I'm not over this, because she's talking about her, and I'm like wanting to see this child, thinking it's mine, and kind of find out she wasn't even saying Ava, she was saying like Avon or something like that.
Uh-huh.
I busted out crying. Yes, I'm talking about you.
Y'all, uh, Sheree,
Huh?
I just heated my pan to start caramelizing the sausage.
The stock. Oh, the what?
Sausage.
Sausage. Okay. Let
Yeah,
me do
you
that.
might hear a lot of sizzling.
Okay. But she was talking about, got my sausage. She was talking about her, and I started crying, and she goes, "Why are you crying?" And I'm like, "You're talking about Ava, who's my daughter that isn't here yet."
Mm,
And I was bawling my eyes out. I thought I was over it, but the
yeah.
the evidence became, if I was over it, it wouldn't have impacted me that hard.
Right. Right.
And so, and then it was crazy, because then I started telling my mind all the things why I said, well, she's not going to come. Oh, you're not going to have enough money. You're not going to have enough time. You're unworthy of having her.
Mm,
You know, God, you did something wrong, so God changed His mind about you. You see, that's why you shouldn't have done birth control. Like, it was all this stuff go to my mind. Like, I damaged myself, and so now I'm unworthy to have my daughter. And
wow.
so she immediately stopped, and she started to pray for me. She was like, "I'm going to pray that God's going to bring this child to fruition for you, because it's something that you're desiring. And I know that God has it for you." And I'm like looking at her crazy, like, and it's crazy because pain will make you blind too.
Yeah.
I'm starting to get mad at her. Don't talk about her as a real thing when she's not.
You're like,
And I
don't
was
give me hope.
yeah, don't give me hope again. I thought I was over it. I don't want that anymore. That was painful. I'm trying to get over it. Pray for God to take the desire out my heart.
Mm.
Don't pray for it to come to pass. Tell Him to take it away, because I can't handle it. It's unbearable.
And
And
that's
so
why
then
you
you
need your
go,
community.
exactly. So it was crazy. Now I was like, you know what? I'm going to try one more time. And of course, now I have to convince my husband. So we tried for 3 months. It was horrible. I was bleeding, a whole bunch of stuff, cramping every time my cycle came around. But every month that went by that I was not pregnant, I got angry and angry again, more angry than the last time, because see, I told you I don't want to hope again. I told you this will happen. I don't want this.
Yeah.
And so then I was like, you know what? We're gonna do a fast and present it before the Lord. God, do you want us to have her or not? Because I'm ready to move past this.
Yeah.
And now I got Miss Ava. And I'm like, it's almost, I can understand, relate when you talk about Asher being in, not here, but in a with the Lord, because it's almost like God created us. God created us first in the heavenly places before we actually manifested here in the flesh.
Right.
We were already created. We're spirit beings in these earthly suits.
Yes.
And so that's how your child can be, not here, but be alive and well.
Yeah.
But the one thing I love about your story is the fruit of your child is evidence in reality.
Yeah.
It has made you love in a different way. It's made you understand in a different way. Now you can relate to women that have lost, that are longing, because you know what that sounds like, what it tastes like. You're not just talking just to talk. You're talking from experience, which is much more valuable than anything any school books can teach you, anything that you could ever experience other than going through it yourself.
Yeah. It definitely puts you in a place of empathy because, sympathy is I feel bad and I'm sorry this happened to you, but empathy is I'm feeling it as you, and it's so interesting the kind of space like because you can, especially if you don't deal with it, you can really become inundated by the trauma,
Yeah.
and miss the opportunity to understand the testimony that is supposed to come out of this. And
Yes.
so I think for me, recognizing that I'm not in this alone. And I remember saying this on my own intercessory live that there is no burden, there's no pain that God doesn't feel more of. And so I'm not alone in it.
Yes.
So he loves me and he understands. He knows why,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't have to necessarily understand to know that he's good.
Yes.
And so that's where I am. That might sound fantastical to some. That might even sound insane to some. But I know what has kept me is knowing that there is no burden that that is designed to break me. Like, it's not. It There's no burden that is designed to cause it to die in such a way that I don't rise up as something beautiful. Because even the ashes matter, right? There's something beautiful on the other side of the ashes, man. And so I've just learned to not stay in the ash. Like, Lord, what is this beauty? Where should I sow my words? If I don't have the words, who are my people that will sow the words? Who will hold my hand while I wait? Because sometimes you have to be quiet to make sure you're not digging your own grave in your pain
And cursing yourself,
and cursing yourself.
cursing the promise, cursing yourself, cursing the people attached to it.
And then listening in on what God is saying. Like, like, there's so many people, there's so many women who feel like they're alone in this. And I feel like, there is, like, not I feel like, but I know there's a need for community here, so that women know not only is this common, but you're not alone in it. You know what I mean? Like, you have women that have been through it in different ways, because everybody's story isn't the same. I spontaneously aborted, but somebody else might have had a stillborn. Somebody else might have, gotten very, very late into their gestation and lost their child. Somebody else, it doesn't it doesn't mean that your story is any more or less powerful, any more or less traumatic. You need community. You need to know that you are not defective, that you are still worthy of love, and you're still a mom. You're still worthy of acknowledgement. Like, these are things that you need to know, that
Yeah.
your womb still functions, whether it conceives a baby or not. You don't just have a natural womb. You have a spiritual womb. You have emotional wombs. We
Yes.
are, we are more than just what we see, ladies. And so, whatever failure has caused you to get stuck, you don't have to stay there. And you have people who love you and will walk you through it and cheerlead you through it and remind you of your worth when you can't see past the darkness.
Woo!
I took my sausage out. Oh, I took my sausage out, and I'm putting my onions inside of the pan, inside of the oil that was rendered from the sausage. I'm putting my
Okay.
onions and my the white parts of the green onion and my garlic inside of the pan.
Okay. Onions and garlic. Okay. Um, yeah, that's good that you said that. And we're just gonna come for the lies. I think our society makes us feel like it's our right as women. Like, it's supposed to be automatic that you have a child. It's supposed to be
Yeah,
automatic that you're supposed to give life, and it's automatic for you to labor.
right.
Because I even remember for me, I had a plan for giving to birth my child, and my cervix wouldn't open.
Mm,
So I'm watching other people. I did all this training and everything, just pop out babies, and for me that wasn't the case. So, oh, yet again, my body has betrayed me. You see,
right.
I forced this. It wasn't supposed to be, and it's just a lot. Everybody has their own story. Everybody has their own process. Every child has their own way of getting here.
Yeah.
Um, I love. Oh, Faye, I want to make sure we face. Yes, before the foundation of the earth, we existed in Abba's thoughts. Yes,
Yes.
we were here before. Well, not here, but we were created before we even manifested here. He
Yes.
said, hello, somebody. I feel like that's a thought process we need to accept, that we won't always get the why. Yes. And it's crazy. We might not get the why now. We'll get it later.
Right.
You just
But what
you
does it
just
say? We'll understand it better by and by.
by and by.
In the by and by. And I think the other thing is what has given me the strength to accept this is knowing that God is good. He's not,
Always.
like he's not fickle. He didn't change his mind. He didn't say, well, actually, you ruined this. I had to, forfeit this because you were not wait. It was none of that. He knows. He knows. And I think that this is a part of my ministry is to help women who may have gotten stuck in their trauma know that there's a place and that they're validated and worthy. They're,
Yes.
they're worthy of love. It's not just your worth is not found in you bearing children. If that's a part of what God has said is yours, then amen. But that doesn't mean that you have no legacy. It doesn't mean that you don't
Yes.
have impact. You are worthy. Your name should be known. And you are loved and appreciated and celebrated for all that you are, not what you do, but simply because you exist is enough.
Yes. I love that you say that because sometimes even when people become moms, become moms,
Hmm.
you feel like you're not enough. But
Yeah,
because you're here, you're already enough. There's
right.
nothing to prove. You're already loved. You're already qualified. You put a strip in. Okay. You're already qualified. Um, it's just a matter of time to catch
Yeah,
up. Or look at this. One thing I love about God too, because He doesn't dangle stuff in front of us to taunt us. Or there's a process that needs to be made, and so He's letting us know the promise
yeah,
to prepare us to process.
yeah. Come on now.
And
That
so it's
part.
like, okay, God, I have this desire, I have this longing. Can you help me um, for the process? What is the process? Some of us, the process is IVF.
Yeah,
And it's so funny because people can say, oh, that's ungodly. Look, God has made medicine, God has made doctors, God has done things for us, knowing what we would need.
right.
Some of it may be adoption,
Yeah,
it may be fostering. And
right.
so maybe could it be we don't have the manifestation of the child that we're wanting because we need to check with Abba Ava. And also the child wouldn't be interrupting you while you try to live your best life. No, I'm joking. um, but could it be God's telling you this so that way you can seek him on okay. You can seek him on okay, God, do you want me to birth a child or am I adopting a child?
That.
Are you creating space in my mind, in my heart to receive a child another way?
Yeah,
And that's not using it as a cop out, but it's using, don't just stop at God giving you the promise. Don't just stop at, oh, God said. Seek him for the process, seek him for the breadcrumbs, for what are you supposed to be doing with this desire?
right. And what impact is your pain supposed to make? Because some of the things that we go through, I think you had talked about it, Sheree, um, where somebody had lost their child through drunk driving and then created mad. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And sometimes the pain is the motivator to impact. And so we don't, like that longing could be the Lord birthing another space in you to love those that are here who don't have moms, who are not good ones. It may mean that you become as a mom. It may mean that you become a god mom. It may mean that you become, a surrogate auntie.
Yes.
And, you discover that there is more in your heart in the realm of love than you even imagine.
Yeah.
Like it's an access key. We just have to not get stuck in the pain because there's something beautiful on the other side of the pain, but the pain is a thorough point. You have to go through. You can't get stuck. Don't set your tent up. Don't establish your home. Don't park your car in the pain.
Yes. I just heard um pain. Ooh, Pain. Oh, Jesus, I'm sorry to get it. I'm trying to get it out. Pain causes a breaking that makes space.
Mm. Yes.
And it's funny because even when we talk about our husbands, woo, Jesus, you had a painful relationship and now you're stuck there. Could it be that painful relationship made room for you to receive the wine?
Mm-hmm.
Made room for you to receive your husband? Because if you would not have gone through that pain, if you have not gone through that rejection, you would have not known what to steer away from to turn you in the direction of the right thing, of the
Right.
healthy thing. You know what I mean? Like it took me some lemons. Okay, it took me some ugly frogs
To get
to
to
not,
you.
let me not say ugly. It took it took me some people to appreciate my husband.
Yeah.
It took me some experiences and some longing on those days that when my kids are getting on my nerves for me, you know what? God placed you in my hands for a reason.
Yeah.
Not let Don't let me treat you like just a happenstance or you just just came upon me. No, no, you were intentional. How do I know you were intentional? Because of the process it took to get you here.
That. And the fact is, just because it's the promise don't mean that, like, just because you finally got the promise don't mean that it don't annoy you and you're not frustrated. Like, the promise is not the end goal. There's a process to that too, to maintaining it.
Yes. And it's almost like that exercise before taught you how to depend on God, because you're gonna need that type of dependency for when the promise does come.
Right.
Amen. I just did my wine,
Also,
garlic. I have my
just
wine,
so
garlic,
you know,
onions in here, my seasoning, my shrimp.
yes, add your shrimp. You already added your shrimp?
Yeah, my shrimp was already cooked, and I
Okay.
had the
Right now, because you're using dried parsley, add your parsley
okay,
and a half a stick of butter.
half a stick of butter. Oh, and I added my lemon.
Okay, awesome.
And so I really appreciate your transparency because it's hard to talk about, and I think a lot of people don't talk about it because how do you process something and then share it? You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Because it takes you to a vulnerable space. But I really appreciate it because some people are stuck and some people will die in their pain had they not heard your testimony.
That I'm really grateful. I'm really grateful that you asked me. Because I think, one of the things that I'm learning is you can know what you know about your situation, but God knows even more. And so my situation isn't for me. A situation is for those that are hurting. And so what can I share?
Yeah.
What
No,
does
no.
he want them to know? What can I share from my heart that brings a consolation,
Go
a
upstairs.
consoling, and even a space of comfort to those who don't understand why.
Yeah.
And so
And he's still God over it all. Even when
oh,
we have to look at him and say, God, I'm so angry at you for this.
right.
And that's
He ain't
okay.
afraid of
He
that.
already
He's not
knows it.
afraid of our anger and our frustration and our pain. Like, he has the answer in the midst of it.
Come on, if we would just come to him with it. That's the part that trips me
If
out.
we come to
It's
him
like,
with
I
it,
already
we
do.
don't come with
I
our
already
own parameters
do.
of how we want him to answer.
Yep. I love it. I love it. So I got my butter melting. Everything else looks good. Miss Ava wants to turn up. That's why I'm holding her, y'all, because she likes to turn up and want to be in the know. So if I show her everything, she's quiet, as long as she can see.
I'm
The
just
else microwave is done.
tasting my broth to make sure it's giving what it's supposed to give.
Girl, my grits. Let me tell you, I've never made grits this good. I might have to call you every time I cook. Like Jennifer. Ooh.
So that's
Okay,
what
you
I'm
add the
doing,
shrimp
y'all.
back in, sausage.
Yeah, add the sausage, add your parsley, and you're done. It's ready, y'all.
Ah,
That's fun.
no, I've been changed. Yes. Oh.
the kids or the kid and my husband are about to be real happy. When I told them what I was cooking for this, they were like, "Oh my god, you're making shrimp and grits!" Yep.
Yes, I know they happy, girl. Y'all, this is a good meal. The reason why I want to make something good too, guys, is I want to make being domesticated sexy again.
Come on now.
I want to make homemade meals sexy again because there's so much you can do. And I think off the top, even when I was a full time worker, you
Mhm.
know, you're tired, you don't want to do different things. So, what are some things that you can make that are still good? How can you prepare? And this is one of those meals that you can prepare that are really good, that'll be good for lunch tomorrow, too.
Yeah,
Um,
it's even better the next day because the
yeah,
seasonings kind of like seep into it too. Like, oh my goodness, oh my goodness.
yes. So, I pray that you guys got something out of this conversation today. If anything, you got a good meal for your family to cook, or you yourself can look at like, yes. Um, and I pray that churches, people, just keep telling your stories. You know, it's not always the yeah the fluff.
Yeah,
It's not always the fluff that will get people to a place of wholeness.
yeah,
It's the transparent, hard, let me tell you, the grave God dug me out of
yes.
that'll really tell, you know, the full picture of who God is.
Girl, say that because when Jesus pulled and called Lazarus out of the grave, he did not smell or look like he had died. He heals really well. There's not a stench afterward, y'all. You're
Yes.
not gonna be walking around smelling like death.
Yep. And you're not gonna be walking around looking like, oh, that's the lady that wanted a child but didn't have it.
Right.
You're gonna there's something's beautiful going to come out of it. We just gotta stay in the trenches and trust God. Woo! Yes. Well, there
And
you have it. Food for the soul and food for your belly.
it took longer than it actually takes because we're talking.
Yes. Right now, what time is it?
Girl, we've been here on here almost an hour.
Oh, well, there you go. It really does take 30 minutes though, y'all. Um,
Yes.
and so we appreciate everyone that came. Faith said, I'm coming for my plate.
Girl, bring yourself. Bring
Yes,
your
yes.
tail. Bring your
Oh,
tail.
I love it. And so read through the comments, you guys. I don't want to keep you much longer, but I thank you guys for the comments. We'll be replying to them
Yes.
um, as we go along. Yes, we have Facebook users saying, hey, ladies, Carmen checking in. Hey, Carmen. This is so good. Amen. You are enough. Yes.
Man.
Um,
Man.
your hubby, validated and worthy of love, and you, my dear, are righteous, fully functioning divine womb that has and will produce much in the earth. Nothing is missing, nothing broken. Yes,
Thank you,
that's her hubby.
honey. Thank you.
Nothing's broken. It still does what it needs to do.
Come on now. Come on.
And so we'll keep reading through the comments for the rest of the day. You guys be encouraged. You got this. And you'll keep moving forward and making something beautiful out your story. Trust God, trust your community. So have a wonderful day on purpose. See you
Yeah.
next week.
Bye, y'all.